Jana, are you giving away too much content for free?
Hell no. Are you?
Probably, but I don't think so.
Well, I think the answer to that question is like, are you still like, again, we're talking to business owners. Are you giving away too much for free in your content? Is the
Yeah.
question, your free content. And so the answer to me is like, well, are you still making money with your marketing content that you're giving a lot away for free in? And if you are, then the answer is no, you're not giving away too much for free. But if you're not, it might be because you are. And so, you and I have like different opinions about this, which we'll talk about today. Usually we agree on everything, but sometimes I think with this topic we're a little bit more at odds, which will be super fun.
Say with at
Um,
odds, but like you just
but
said,
not really. I mean, not
yeah,
really at the end of the day, right?
what works for
Um,
you
right, right. What
might not
works for
work for
you?
me, and or might not be what I want to do. I
Right.
blazed a new path.
You did. And also everything's relative. But okay, let's get into it so people know
Objective.
what the hell we're talking about here. Okay.
Yeah, everything is so subjective, right?
hmm
But you have to try things and really figure out what's going to work for you in your business. So in today's topic, we're chatting about whether or not you're giving away too much in your content. Now, this is really relatively tied to blogging in your business,
hmm
but you could also tie this to podcasting or YouTube videos
Oh,
or whatever.
totally. Absolutely. Yeah, and I teach long form content in high leverage content. I have a blog first or long form content first marketing
Mhm.
ecosystem, and I teach that. And so I think a lot about this in a lot of different ways. But one of the ways I think about it is sometimes my students, on some level, they know that long form content is something they need. It's going to convert better and faster for them. It's going to be more evergreen in most cases, so
Mhm.
it'll reduce their hustle. But they have this like question in their mind that like, oh, maybe if I do long form content because I have to make it long, that
Yeah.
I'm going to be giving away too much for free. And then how do I reserve like the good stuff, if you will, or the real value, for the people who are going to pay me. And then conversely, if I give away a ton of valuable information in a long form piece of content, instead of
Mhm.
just teasing it in a quick Instagram reel or something like that, will I give away too much for free so that now people will not think they have to hire me to get the transformation?
Mhm.
Um, and there's that piece of it. There's some other factors as well that we can talk about, but that's kind of like in reality, the real truth is that I have students who worry about that. And so that's one of the reasons why I talk about it and why I teach from that perspective about like how to create value in your content without giving it all away for free and while still setting up a sale. So that's kind of like where I come from it on it. And you're right, it's like about again about business owners creating content that is meant to help sell their offers, not just about content creators who
Mhm.
are constantly creating new content because that's their currency basically. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's not we're not talking to that crowd today. We are talking about people who are looking to sign clients for some sort of service.
Right. Or make sales, of a digital
Generally,
product. It could apply in that
yeah,
situation
digital
as well,
course.
right?
Yeah.
Right. hmm
Coaching programs can also take shape in a digital course format.
Right.
So,
Right. So, like, let's just use ourselves as an example for a second. Like,
yeah,
what is the goal of your content? Like,
the
why do
goal of
you
my
create so
content,
much content on your blog and YouTube and all those places? What is the ultimate thing that you're wanting your content to do in your business?
I want it to do one of three things. Number
Mhm.
one, I want it to generate an email list lead. Number two, I want it to generate a sale of my membership or a lead into my the service-based side of my business. So if they are not ready or a fit for high value or high ticket, uh, like done for you work,
Mhm.
then the membership would probably be a good fit for them. I also just recently been toying around and I added this to my service page. I added a paid call link so people can actually just book a paid call without ever actually having to communicate it with me.
Mhm.
They book the call and pay for it all in one go.
Yep.
And I'm getting a lot more of those as a result of people watching my content, reading my blog, and then clicking over to what services I offer,
Yeah, yeah.
realizing, oh, I'm not really ready for, because I put my prices on my website. I'm not really
Right.
ready for that level of investment. And I don't know if the membership is a good fit. So let me just book a $97 call with Heather
Yep.
And that has actually been working quite well. I've been doing
Yeah,
probably 5 to 6 of those a month.
that's great. Because then you can get on a call with them, answer their questions, give them some like direction on what to do,
Yeah.
but also they can ask you questions to help figure out if the membership is a good fit. So it's like a really a win-win-win. So that's good.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, okay, your turn to answer.
Yes, so all my content is driving toward the same thing that yours is, which is either getting people on my email list where I will communicate with them and sell high leverage content, my program, or I'm driving towards them just buying high leverage content. So my content is there to build trust with me, position me as an expert, um, and build demand for my offer, my paid offer. And I feel like those are the things I need to be doing in my content to have it be driving to either getting on my email list and eventually buying HLC or just buying HLC because it's a 997 program. So
Yeah.
some people just find out about it and buy it. Um, so yeah, we're both driving. All of our content is meant to at a very high, like just high level, like just to sell our paid offers.
Mhm.
Now you also have some, other things going on in your business. You have additional streams of income because you monetize YouTube and
Yeah.
yeah, things like that, right? But that's not the goal of your content overall. So when you're thinking about what topics you want to use for your YouTube videos this year or this quarter and your blog and all that kind of stuff, you're not necessarily thinking about that stream of income. You're talking about
No,
content that's
not
going to
me at
build
all.
that trust and demand and sell your offers.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really care about the monetization. Honestly, Jenna, I haven't even
Right.
looked at YouTube monetization or like views per video or like how many like
Yeah.
I have not looked at really any of that in
Yeah,
almost a
because it's
year.
not your highest priority. Like you're happy to have it as a like little bit of
Mhm.
like a cherry on top, but it's not your high priority.
It's just not, yeah, it's just not a big priority because at the end of the day, it doesn't make a huge difference. It pays for the YouTube revenue and the blog revenue pay for my video editor for the
That's a great way
year.
to look at it.
And that's really like
That's
that's
great.
great.
Yeah. It's like a self-liquidating lead
Yeah.
generating.
Because I'm never going to edit YouTube videos. I will
No.
literally shut the YouTube channel down before I edit a YouTube video.
Yeah. Yeah. Editing's definitely it's a beast. Either you enjoy it and you're good at it or you're not, and it's time consuming. Yeah.
So you wrote a
Um,
blog.
mhm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. I wanted to ask you about this blog post
Okay.
about this topic.
Oh yeah.
So you
You
wanted to
just want to,
share, yeah, I think you wanted to share one tactic from the blog,
yes.
right?
Yes. So I wrote a blog post. It's called How to Give like massive value in your long form content without giving it all away for free.
Hmm.
And again, I wrote this for the people in my audience and in my program too, who worry about that.
Yep.
Um, and so I talk about, first of all, my philosophy around it, which is that even though there are a lot of people in the online space who say, oh no, there's no way to give away too much for free, like just be abundant and give it all away for free, and that will attract the people into your audience, and then some of them will buy.
Hmm.
I don't actually believe that. I believe that it is important for you to know what it is that you give away in your free content versus what you reserve for paying clients or students, in my case, in the course.
Yeah.
Um, People can argue with that. That's fine. I know some people disagree with me or they don't like the philosophy around it or they think of it a little differently, and that's okay. I was just on a call yesterday with a business coach for health coaches that was saying like it's not that I want to like gatekeep or hold things back. It's just that I don't want to I forget how she phrased it, but it was like a little bit of a different in spirit, but the same in practicality, you know?
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I talk about in that blog post is that sometimes, and this is another reason why you have to be careful about like the actual level of detail and the amount of content you're giving away for free in your free content. If you aren't careful, sometimes, depending on your business model and who you attract and that type of thing, you do run the risk of like overwhelming people and having people be like, oh, wait, this is just way too much to do. And like, kind of like disengaging from your content because they feel like, oh, I didn't realize there were so many steps involved. I
Hmm.
didn't realize that there were like all these different aspects of this that I never had thought about before. So there's that piece of it too. You do have to be careful in that way. And that's a different issue.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so in this blog post, I talk about my philosophy on it, and then I give you four literally blog post structures that I teach my students that set you up to basically give the right amount of detail, have people feel like really satisfied by the content, and have them feel like, oh, that was really valuable, and I can't wait to read the next thing from her,
Yep.
but also still set up the sale.
Yeah,
So there's four different strategies, and I outline them in the blog post.
they are here. I'm looking at them.
Cool. And I'm putting the link to that blog post in the description of this video.
Yep.
But I figured for like to bring some value, if you will, to this YouTube video, I
Yeah.
would just tell you about my favorite of those four.
Okay. I want to
Um,
hear about it.
so, okay. So my favorite, and I use this all the time. It works really well if you're writing a blog post and it can work for a YouTube video. It can work for a podcast episode as well, really anything long form. It works really well when you're talking about like you're exploring a problem that you know your audience has that your offer can help solve. So you don't want to pick a problem that's just some random problem that they have. It actually needs to be in alignment with your paid offer as well. I teach a whole system for choosing the right topics inside of HLC. So let's just assume you've already picked the right topic. I won't go off on that tangent. And now you have a topic and it's really exploring and helping people move towards a solution for a problem that you know that they have that your paid offer helps with. Sorry, been fighting something. Um,
Water.
yeah, let me take a sip of water. Sorry.
Don't do it.
Mhm. So the way I like to do it is there's some like I'll call it fluff, but it's good fluff at the beginning where you're doing an intro and a hook, right? And
Mhm.
I teach about that and how to do that, whatever. But and then you segue into what I call the meat of the post,
Yep.
which is the value part, the three strategies you're going to share. And I like to recommend that you share three strategies or three ways or three steps or three new ways of thinking. It can be any of these sort of like elements, and there's other ways you can think about it too, but any steps, strategies, ways, whatever it is, different ways of thinking, approaches that are going to help people move towards a solution to this problem. And what I like to suggest, and I like to do three, but if you really wanted to do four, like if there were really four things you wanted to talk about that roll up to solving this problem that are relevant to your reader, go for it. I wouldn't do more than four or five because then it starts to be like a lot for you and it makes it harder to write a library of content. And beyond five, definitely don't do more than five. I think three is a sweet spot. I wouldn't do two because then it feels like it's not enough. I just like the number three. But if you're going to do three, or let's say four, let's say you're going to do three. You can have two of them, one of them or two of them be like a very like actionable like tactic that you've seen work for your clients or that you've tried yourself that people are going to read and be like, "Ooh, I love that. Hadn't heard that before," or "I have heard that but not in that way,"
Hmm.
or "She gave me a new way to do that that I hadn't thought about before." Um, that they can literally go off and try without hiring you, if you will, right? And then because you made one or two of your three strategies or ways or, you know, shifts in thinking or whatever actionable, the other one or two can be specifically about something that you talk about that you only do inside your program, essentially your
Yep.
paid program. So that way you are giving a lot of value and you're giving people something that they can like go ahead and try and get a quick win with. Um, but without, and it doesn't even like if they go off and try it and get a quick win, great. But even just the idea that they could helps build that trust in you and positions you as an expert and someone who's problem and or it's like who's solution oriented. So that's going to build that trust and demand for your offer, whether or not they actually go off and try that thing or not, really. But meanwhile, you also have this vehicle to talk about what you do inside your offer with people. Um, so actually, I guess I can pull up the blog and, talk about the actual example that's in the blog rather than trying to come up with a different
Yeah.
example. Oh, are you on mute?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not on mute.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was on mute.
Okay, the example I use in the blog post, this is just one of the four strategies that I talk about. But the example that I use, let's see. Oh, you know what? I didn't have an example in here. I did originally, and it's not there now. Sorry. Okay. I'm gonna have to come up with an example on the fly. So let's say you are a health coach that helps people reduce sugar in their
Hmm.
diet, right? So maybe for one of your strategies, you talk about meal planning and planning in advance and being intentional about what you're going to eat, but
Yep.
you talk about it in a way people haven't heard before, right? So maybe there's a certain technique that you like to show people or a certain approach that you like to take to meal planning that's a little different or specific to how you do it that you've seen work really well for people. You talk about that. And that's something that they could literally like screenshot from their phone when they're reading your blog post and take it to the grocery store and it's going to help them, right? Whether they hire you or not. And then maybe the second and the third strategies, or ways or shifts or whatever, are more talking about things that you do inside your offer. So like maybe one of them is getting support from someone who has been there before and knows what it's like to hear like the sugary snacks calling or whatever. And then you talk about like what you do inside of coaching. And then maybe now we've got two out of our three strategies, and then maybe the third one, and you can decide what order to put these in. Maybe that's the first and the third. Maybe the second strategy is like a specific framework that you teach about inside of your paid offer that helps people um, choose foods that are, I'm trying to come up with something on the fly here that feel sugary to the brain but aren't actually sugary. I don't know.
Yep.
Like I used to work with this woman, Nagina, who she's a fantastic lady. I did her Pinterest for a while, who teaches about incorporating spices into your diet, right? In order to kind of fool your palate into thinking that you're eating sugar when you're not, because like cinnamon tastes sugary, but it's not. It's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
that could be like a strategy that you share about, right? So basically, the point is that you're setting up, you're giving some actionable stuff, but you're also talking about things that it's not that they couldn't try it outside of your offer, but you're really showing the value of like how much easier it is to implement when you are inside the offer and you have the additional tools that you provide inside of the offer. So maybe there's a certain checklist that you can tell them about, but that you don't actually give in the blog post, that you just talk about how it's inside of your paid offer and you develop it and go over it in the monthly call, with each individual client or something like that. So I really like that. And then of course you do the rest of it. You do like a wrap up and a pitch and a call to action. So it's introduction and hook, three strategies. One is like highly actionable and like just a tip basically or a trick. And then the other two can be things that are more oriented towards like what you do inside your paid offers, talking about the tools you do inside and the ways that you help people inside the
Yep.
paid offer. And then the wrap up and the pitch and the call to action.
So I want to call something out that you mentioned in this, and it's how you are coaching people to talk about what they do inside their paid offer for their clients.
Right.
I do this even in my how-to content, but I always have a gap that I try to create a bridge to the paid offer for. So
Yep.
anytime even if I'm doing how-to videos, or how-to blog posts, I try to do this. I try to talk about what we do inside of the paid membership program or what I do for my clients. So people have like this subconscious seeding that this is something that I do for people regularly, and I do.
Right.
And it's a good way for them to feel permission and almost feel like it's their idea that they reach out to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Can you,
So
I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you give an example of a piece of content that you've done that's very how to, but still creates that gap and what the gap is?
So a lot of my content is like this actually. I'm just gonna pop over to the front side of the channel. And of course, I'm logged into the wrong Google account, I guess. I don't really know.
Mm.
Um, okay. So I did a how to connect your Instagram, and I like to do hybrid how-tos. So not just like a here's how to do it, but why you should do this kind of thing, or why you should be doing this, or how to think about it. So I did this video a while back on how to connect your Instagram account to Pinterest. And then in that video, I talked about exactly who this might be for, what use cases you might use this for, is auto-publish good for you or not? And like I didn't talk about this with Pinterest before I published it. I was in the middle of my beta educator program that I was doing with them when I did this. video, but they watch my videos. That's how they ultimately found me initially. And they messaged me afterwards and they were like, this was a really good video. Like we sent this in the Slack channel to the team to understand why someone would want to connect their Instagram account to Pinterest and thinking through it. So anyways, that's one of them, but I don't just do
I
like
just have
how
to
to.
I have to
I do
interrupt
how
you for a second. Make sure everyone just heard the fact that Pinterest told you that they took your video and sent it to their team, internal team, so that their
yeah,
internal team could have that appreciation for like why people, users would like use this in this way. So good job, Heather. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I
Okay, sorry.
know.
Continue.
No, I just think that you don't have to do only a how to. And when people think, oh, well, I need to do like a how to meal plan blog post, you're not just doing a how to meal plan blog post. You're teaching people the psychology around why you're meal planning to avoid sugar and like you're seeding all of those opportunities in to work with you or move to the next step and like solidifying that you are an expert through your content. So I got off on a tangent here. I just wanted to like add in that yes, I do the same exact strategy even in my how-to content.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I have been doing this for a long time and we've kind of figured these things out over time. Um, but I do find that a lot of people who are not like professional marketers, because we are, we're professional marketers, um, don't automatically know how to structure things that way. You know what I mean? So like what I just went through is like the simplest like way to do that in a way that like does create that gap.
Yeah.
Um, Another example I was thinking about was like when I wrote a blog post about how to write a Pinterest bio
Hmm.
that attracts clients, I think, and we're going to be talking about that actually in a
Yeah,
couple
coming up.
weeks too. One thing I like in my blog post, I talked about how important it is to incorporate keywords as part of it's like there's a two-step process for creating a bio is what I teach in the blog. It's very how to. It's very like aha moments. Everyone who reads it like loves it. It does really well on Google for that reason. I know that it really kind of like scratches an itch that people have to understand how Pinterest bios work. But I'm still talking about the fact that like it's important to incorporate keywords, but also I'm reminding people, how do you figure out what keywords people are looking for? You
Hmm.
do keyword research. How do you choose which keywords are your most important keywords? Well, I teach that inside of Pinterest with Purpose.
Yeah.
So, like, there's pieces of it that you can bring in and just remind people that there's a bigger picture here. Like, so it's still satisfying. People feel like they know a lot more than they did about it before, but they also realize that there's work that they'll need to do to prepare to do that simple two-step process. And that work, doing keyword research, figuring out what your keyword plan is stuff
Yeah.
that they can do inside my paid offer. And I'm not shy to say that. I'll say that. I have no problem saying like that because the fact of the matter is like they're wondering that. They're reading that thinking, okay, yeah, but how do I find what keywords to use? So I'm telling them, you know,
Yeah.
I'm telling them what to do next. Go enroll in Pinterest with Purpose and I'll show you exactly how to do that, right? So,
And that's something that, like, even in my free content, I will show people how to find keywords,
mm,
but I don't generally take people through my process of figuring out what keywords to even search for.
right.
That's not something I generally talk about. I've talked about
Right.
it in public, but still, like, having the worksheet and seeing the framework on paper is way more powerful than listening and trying to understand or read between the lines of what I'm talking about. Like, I will
Right.
talk about the practice of doing that, but you still really need to be in um, Pin Profit Academy in order to understand the framework and get the support that you're going to need and all the tutorials that go along with it.
Right.
But
And the
yeah, like
strategy, really the strategy, because
strategy.
sometimes you do hear people say, and this is like my least favorite way to do it, but it does work and you can use it if you want. You can talk about the why, but not the how.
Hmm.
The reason I don't love that for blog posts and YouTube videos and long form content in general is that if you do that all the time, I feel like it erodes trust a little bit because you have to show people you know how to do the how.
I agree.
Otherwise, they're going to be like, this lady like talks about the why a lot, but does she even really know how to do it? You know what I mean? Which is, I think, one of the reasons you've been so successful because you do show people the how and they're like,
Mm.
wow, this woman knows her stuff, right?
Yeah,
So you can do the why, but not the how. But what you're saying is you can also do the how, but not the why, in the sense that you can say, like, here's how to do this, but there's a strategy that goes along with it. And I will teach you my strategy, but I
in
don't
Pinterest.
do that in this YouTube video. Like that part is in a different place. It's actually in Pin Profit Academy, which by the way, you can join for $37 a month.
Yeah,
Is that right? $37 a month?
37 a month, 97 a quarter, or 370 a year. And if you enroll yearly,
Crazy.
you
So
get
good.
a one-on-one call with me immediately, which I got the idea from you to do that. So,
Yes, it's so good. Yeah. So if you do the yearly, you get the one-on-one call with you.
mhm,
That's awesome. And then can they use the one-on-one call anytime or do they have to do it right away? Is there like a,
whenever they want.
okay. I
I'm not
think if
holding
I
anything.
did that, I would like wait, I'd like watch the curriculum and then I'd do the call with you. But I'm sure there are people who are just like want to get on the call right away and be like, okay, tell me what I
Well,
need to know.
and you do things like this very similarly when you launch high leverage content.
Mhm.
And um, I think everyone should go read the blog post. I've put it in the live chat. We'll also put it in the description of this video once we're done. But there are three other very specific strategies that Jana talks about in that blog post. Um, and there's jump links, and if there's a specific strategy you want to read about and find out more about, then you can do that. And you can get on our newsletter while you're at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Get on my newsletter, people.
Get on there.
Yeah, no, I do. I send out lots of good emails, high leverage hits. You can sign up. Yep.
She does. Okay, Jana, next week we're talking about, do you need a blog for Pinterest to work? So we're kind of
Mhm.
continuing this conversation of blogging next week.
Yep.
And the end of
Everyone
next,
asks that. Everyone asks that. Do I need a blog for Pinterest?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing this live next week, and then the end of next week, I'll be in Palm Springs, which is exciting for the weekend.
Oh,
uh,
I didn't know that.
For Alt Summit. Yeah, I'm speaking there. And then,
Oh.
yeah, we're gonna have to figure out our summer schedule once I move. So we've got that on the horizon, you know?
I'm so excited for you, but I'm gonna miss you. But I'm not gonna miss you because we'll see each other all the time
I still miss
anyway. It's
each other
not
all the
different.
time.
It's not different. I have to keep
It's a
saying that to
different time
myself. It's
zone.
not different. It's not different. There's no difference between Florida and Arizona
No,
and Florida and Europe.
no.
No
Well,
practical difference. Okay.
same time next week. New time for me, same time for all of you. Same place, right here. We'll see you then.
See you
In the
then.
meantime, get on Jana's email list and learn about the 4 total strategies for if you are giving away too much content. Okay?
Yeah, do that.
Bye.
What she said.
All right. 31 minutes. I was trying to like wrap
I
it
know.
up.